and welcome to Googie's Kitchen, and if you are new here then hello and welcome. My name's Alexis and today I want to show you how to make my delicious homemade tomato ketchup. As I just mentioned, today I want to share with you how to make my tomato ketchup on the hob. Now this has been requested by one of my viewers. I think last year I made tomato ketchup in the slow cooker and I asked if anybody would like to see it on the hob, and one person said yes. Thank you to that one person. So I thought I'd show you it today. We're having fish cakes for tea tonight, and fish cakes are delicious with this tomato ketchup. And if you'd like to see my recipe for fish cakes, then please let me know in the comments below and I will make those for you. But yes, today I thought I'd show you how to make this. So here is how to make my tomato ketchup on the hob. So the first thing I'm going to do is make a bouquet garni, and a bouquet garni is where you keep all the herbs and spices that you don't want to fall into your tomato ketchup but you still want the flavour from them. So for this I'm going to use 1 teaspoon of ground mace, and I'm just going to put that on there, and then I'm going to use 1 teaspoon, or probably about half a teaspoon of ground mixed spice. In the recipe it does say allspice, but I've actually run out of allspice, so I'm going to try it with ground mixed spice and see how that is. And then I'm going to put a 1/4 teaspoon of cloves. Now cloves are very strong, so you don't need too much of that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 6 peppercorns to this as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'm going to fold the cloth that I've put all these spices on up. And then what I'm going to do, hopefully, is tie it round with an elastic band. And once I start cooking the ketchup, I shall be putting that in later. So that is my spice bag for the ketchup that I'm going to be using later in the recipe. So next I'm going to put a large saucepan, if I can turn my hob on a high heat, and I'm going to add some oil to that pan as well. So I'm just going to get the oil, sorry about that, and then I'm just going to put like a teaspoon or 2 of oil into the base of the pan, and I'm just going to heat this pan up now. So the pan is really nice and hot now, and I can hear it sizzling away beautifully. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 1 onion to the base of the pan, like so. And I'm going to fry this until it softens, so it becomes a bit translucent, see-through. So I'm just going to continue to fry this now. So the onion has started to soften beautifully now, and it's started to become see-through and clear as well. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in 2 cloves of garlic to this as well. I've just sliced 2 cloves of garlic. Oh, and I've peeled and chopped the onion so it was very fine, very small pieces as well. So yeah, I don't like to add the garlic in too early because the onion takes a little while longer to cook, and the garlic always tends to burn if you put it in too early. It only really needs a couple of minutes in the pan. So this pan is getting really hot now, so what I'm going to do is just turn it down slightly. And the onions are cooking beautifully in here as well. And now what I'm going to do, that's been in for a few moments, the garlic. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in 2 tins of chopped tomatoes. So and then I'm going to add another one in as well. I have tried this with fresh tomatoes as well, but I do think chopped tomatoes are better. They're just more gungy, if that makes sense. They're a bit bulkier as well, and you have to chop a lot of tomatoes, and I wanted to make this as quick and easy as possible for everybody. So yeah, so that's why I use tin tomatoes, but you can try it with chopped tomatoes as well. You probably need about 800 grams of tomatoes from the supermarket, and I choose the very ripe ones, the more expensive ones basically, because they have a lot more flavour. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar as well. So I'm just going to add this in to my ketchup mixture. And then finally what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my bouquet garnet in, or bouquet garnet, and I'm just going to put it on the side like so. And then I'm going to turn this heat down, because it's bubbling away nicely, to a very low heat, and I'm going to leave this to simmer now for about 30 minutes. So this has been on the hob for about, well, a good half an hour now, and it's started to thicken beautifully. Where the steam's rising off it, it's actually taking some of the moisture away with it as well, and it's started to thicken really nicely. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove it from the heat and just leave it to cool. So I'm just going to simply push it over there and turn the heat off and leave it to cool for probably about 30 minutes now. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to remove the bouquet garnet from the ketchup, from the mixture, from all the ingredients, and I am going to add 2 tablespoons of maple syrup into this. So I'm just going to add 1 and then 2. That's gone in, so that's lovely. And the maple syrup just gives it a bit of sweetness without having too much sugar in it as well. And then I'm going to add in 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika, and this just adds a lot of flavour and it tastes absolutely delicious. And then I'm going to add in 1 teaspoon of ground sweet cinnamon. You can use ordinary cinnamon if you can't get ground sweet cinnamon, and in the recipe I've actually said to use ordinary cinnamon as well, but I thought I'd try today ground sweet cinnamon, because we have it in the cupboard and it does make things taste that little bit sweeter, so I thought I'd just give it a try and see how it tastes. So I'm just going to mix all of these together, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour the ketchup into my NutriBullet cup, or put the ketchup into my NutriBullet cup, and then I'm going to blend all of these ingredients together until they're all nice and smooth. And I know this seems like a really long process to make ketchup, but I normally make this when I'm making a roast dinner, because I can keep it on the hob and I can just keep an eye on it. So I start this before I start the roast dinner, and then I just when the roast is all in the oven, I then deal with making the tomato ketchup. So yeah, it's a great one, but it does take time to make. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this onto my NutriBullet and blend it for probably about 30 seconds to a minute now. So this has all been blended now until it's smooth, and that's what it should look like. That's the consistency it should look like. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour this back into my saucepan again, and I'm going to put this back onto a low heat for another 30 minutes. And I know I said that this is a really long process, but bear with me, because the effort is worth the results. Honestly, this is the most tasty ketchup I've ever had, to be honest with you. So I love it, and my family love it as well. So yeah, it's definitely worth the effort. So the ketchup has been on the hob for well over half an hour now. I left it for a little bit longer, but it's started to thicken beautifully. So if I just show you, it's really thick and really gloopy now, and it looks a bit like tomato puree, and that's the consistency that you want. And I also forgot to say that as it's cooking, you might want to come back every so often to the hob, just to get the bits that get stuck on the side of the pan off, and just tap them back in. It's all good stuff, so don't worry too much if it goes a bit lumpy, it's fine. But yeah, this is beautiful ketchup. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the heat off, and I'm going to remove the pan from the heat and leave it to cool until it's completely cool now. So I've left the tomato ketchup to cool until it's completely cool, and then what I've done is I've got 2 sterile jars here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the ketchup into the sterile jars, and yeah, just keep putting it into the sterile jars. As I said, this is a delicious ketchup to have with chips. It's great with fish cakes, it's great with burgers, it's really yummy. My family love it. I've given it as presents before as well. So if you want to make this and give it as a gift, then it's a beautiful gift. I have to say it only keeps for about 2 weeks in the fridge though, and then you will start to probably get some mould on it. So it doesn't keep for that long. So you do have to eat it within a certain amount of time, but you can also freeze it as well because all of the ingredients in here are freezable. I would normally use 1 large jar, but I've actually run out of large jars. So I'm literally using 2 smaller jars, but they've nearly filled it. This one isn't so full, but the other one is very full. And this is nearly done now. So that's it. That is my homemade tomato ketchup on the hob. So that's how you make my delicious homemade tomato ketchup, and that recipe I will link in the description box below for you. So that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to give me a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and please feel free to leave any comments below. Do you like making homemade tomato ketchup, or will you consider it after watching this video? I'd love to know, and please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. See you all soon. Bye.